The Shackled City Adventure Path, the first true campaign to fully be published and to be followed by two sequels, well, somewhat sequels, the Age of Worms story and Savage Tides, which were also published in Dungeon Magazine. This campaign gets player characters from first level all the way to 20th level if you're running it in 3rd edition. Now, I ran it in 5th edition, and my player characters got to about 15th level, as I didn't push them to get super high level. Now, I will note many of the individual adventures are more heavy on dungeon crawling, some of which take place underneath Cauldron, a few take place sort of in Cauldron at different locations, and many of them, a few of them at least, go to the other planes of existence, particularly Carceri, and in one case, the Abyss. The location for Cauldron, you can see the city of Cauldron here, I have on the map, is in the mountains in a jungle region in the southern latitudes of Orth, essentially the Greyhawk setting. Now, this is interesting as it allows for creatures that may not be native to sort of northern climates, and there are dinosaurs in this area that are considered just ordinary animals. They're not featured heavily in the adventure or campaign, but they do appear here and there, although I would recommend if you're running it, DM should use them more often. I think I used T-Rex zombies that came out of Tomb of Annihilation once or twice. Creatures like that are an excellent added addition or added thing you can bring into this campaign. Now, if you're looking for a campaign to run that'll get players from low level to at least mid level to high level, depending on how stable your group is, this is the adventure path for you. Unlike a lot of the modern adventure settings or campaign books, it gets you higher level than 12th level. Like you think about Curse of Strahd or Rime of the Frost Maiden, and again, I'm putting out 5th edition adventures, not Pathfinder adventures that are newer because I'm not as familiar with them, and I run games in 5th edition. Those campaigns get players roughly to 12th level, and then they kind of fade away and leave it up to the DM if they want to continue. This is unique because player characters can get much higher level, and at least they're intended to get higher level. Now, they don't have to. When I ran it, like I said, my players got to about 15th. I did add a few side adventures of original content to get them a little more XP or to kind of follow one character's particular storyline and to flesh things out a little bit. But overall, players can get to a fairly high level here, higher level than they're really intended. Now, it's not going to be as easy to find the material for this campaign. Some of the adventures, most I should say, are online through different sources where you can download copies of old dungeon magazines. The second adventure, Drakthar's Way, was printed only in the reprint book that was published for Shackled City. And it's very hard to find, as I noted in my review for it, but it is out there if you are willing to pay the price for it, because it'll cost you a couple $100 if you can find it at all. Or you can just kind of wing it and put it together from pieces you find online, which is kind of what I did. Now, one of the great things about this campaign is there are a lot of maps available online that other DMs have created. I used some of them when I ran the campaign, and then I also created some for some of the higher level adventures, such as the Asylum adventure, the final adventure for Skullrot Tower, and I also used one of my maps for what is called Shadowhorn, which you can find both on my Patreon if you just want to download them. They're available for free for anyone to download. Overall, it's a very good campaign. I rate it a 4 out of 5 when I'm talking about the entire campaign. It generally has its best adventures in the levels 4 through 8 range, give or take, and those are just solid gold, fantastic. The latter adventures aren't quite as good and generally tend to be pretty good. There was only one where I felt like Foundation of Flame, which I felt was kind of had some redundant qualities to it and didn't quite add up to the others. And it was very event based, if you've seen my review for it, but it had good moments. It wasn't bad, but just wasn't great. But it ends well as a campaign, considering that high-low adventures are very hard to write, and to be able to include them into the main storyline is kind of difficult. I feel like overall, Shackled City holds its own throughout its campaign. And again, if you want to get your player characters in an ongoing campaign all the way to 20th level or so, then this is the campaign for you. Now, note, when I ran it, we played every single week for about 4 hours at a time. And we probably ran this campaign for about 2 years to be able to finish it. Now, just giving you a rough estimate of what it might take to run it, that's roughly the time frame. But again, if you like it, or if you like ongoing campaigns, and you want a campaign that is more dungeon crawl heavy, but has a lot of storyline and does have a lot of NPCs for role playing opportunities, then I would recommend this particular adventure. Now, if you've run a lot of more modern 5th edition adventures where it's like Curse of Strahd or Rime of the Frost Maiden, you'll note that they're not quite as heavily in the dungeon crawl department. They tend to have a lot of smaller locations the player characters visit and a few larger dungeon crawls. This is much heavier in dungeon crawling than that is, and there are a lot more big locations rather than small locations. There are smaller locations, like say Lord Valantru's, manor, and also the dungeon crawl underneath it, which isn't that big, but it tends to focus on much larger stuff. So, guys, if you want to look for a great campaign to run and you want pre-prep material, a lot of it that you can help you run it so you're not overburdened by way too much stuff, and you can kind of focus on some other things in the adventure like characters' personal storylines or what have you, this is probably going to be the campaign for you. Now, I would say if you guys like these reviews and you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. I will be doing another review of some one-shot reviews following this, but I will also be doing some reviews of some more modern adventure campaigns that I have run. I only review adventures that I've actually run, so I come from the perspective of how does this actually work when you actually want to run this.